Hello, welcome back to the sewing room. I'm Laura, and today I want to talk to you about why your sewing machine needle might be breaking while you're sewing. Now, there's more than one reason this can happen, but I'll kind of go through the most likely scenarios, and hopefully if you're having this problem, we can get it fixed to get you back to sewing. This is one of those problems where maybe you have a machine that overall sews really well. 99% of the time, you don't even have to think about it. You just sit down and you get to sew and life is great. But then every once in a while, it will just act up. There'll be a problem. And basically I'm going to go through the various reasons that this can happen and how to fix it. I should talk a little bit about why it... I mean, obviously you can't sew if your machine's needle is breaking all the time, right? Like that's not great. Another thing is it does kind of create a safety hazard for you. If the machine happens to break the needle at just the wrong moment, you know, it could go flying off into, you know, unknown places and possibly, you know, hit you, which is not great. No one likes sharp metal flying at their face, right? That's not good. So that's bad. But also the issue is if your machine is breaking needles, especially more than just as a freak occurrence every once in a while, that can throw off the timing on the machine. And people who sew are very quick to blame the timing for issues going wrong with the machine. Most of the time it's not actually the timing. Most of the time the timing is fine. But hitting the needle enough and striking parts of the machine that do need to work in a certain timing in a certain order will throw off the timing on the machine. And then really you pretty much either have to then learn how to repair the machine yourself completely, or you need to pay someone to repair it. And you know, that's not the end of the world, but it's gonna really put a damper on your sewing plans if you were thinking of doing something like, you know, this weekend. So those are the reasons you don't want your sewing machine needle to break really ever, but especially if your machine is becoming a repeat offender, you need to figure this issue out before it creates bigger problems later on. Now, the most obvious question I ask everybody whenever they're having any problem with their machine is, how old is your needle? A needle that is dull or bent is a lot more likely to break as you're sewing because it's not going to behave the way that the machine expects it to, and it's more likely to snag on either the needle plate or on the fabric or, you know, somewhere in the bobbin assembly, and then break. So if your needle is old, that can cause some problems. So obviously if your needle has actually broken, you're already highly motivated to change it. But when you're changing the needle, you know, just really go over exactly how you're inserting the new needle. Is it being inserted all the way into the machine? Are you clamping down the needle clamp tight enough? Now, it's possible you've never noticed this if you don't know what you're looking for, but a lot of machines have a little slot on the end of the screw that you tighten in order to put the needle in. And basically what that's for is so that you can insert a screwdriver. Now, don't go nuts on this. You don't want to strip this screw, but sometimes just a little extra oomph, whoops, that was maybe a little too oomphy, just helps really make sure that screw is super secure. The second thing you want to check is, are you using the right needle for the project and the fabric you're working on? Now, using the wrong thread for the right needle can still cause problems because it can make the thread break. And I did a whole video about that a while ago. I will link to it somewhere on this screen so that you can get to it. But using the wrong needle for the fabric can also occasionally cause the needle to be more likely to break. Now, there are different kinds of needles. They do come in different styles, but also in different sizes. So if you look really closely in this one, this is a stretch needle from Schmetz. So you would use it for stretch fabrics that contain Lycra, usually. But also this bottom number here is actually the size of the needle. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can read that. So this is a size 90 or 14. There are two different numbering systems for the size of sewing machine needles, but all you really need to know about them is that as the numbers, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. Wait, 14, yeah. So as the numbers go up, no matter which number, the needle gets bigger. So a 90 or 14 is larger than a 70 or 10 and is smaller than a 110 or 18. So basically, what I like to do, especially when I was starting out sewing, I kind of obsessed over this problem. So luckily for me, most sewing machine manuals will include some sort of chart or recommendation of what size needle to use for what kind of fabric, because they don't want you to have problems either with their machine, and so they do give you those recommendations. Other than that, I think that the people who make needles, I definitely know Schmetz also has like, I think, information on their website about what kind of needle to use for what kind of fabric. I will link to that in the show notes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that exists. I will double check and I will include it in the notes from this video so that you can find it easily. So that you don't have to use Schmetz needles. If you're using a different brand, that's fine. But you do want to match the size of the needle, and ideally the size and the type of needle that you're using along with the fabric that you are using. Another thing that can cause your sewing machine needle to break is if the tension on your machine is way off, especially if it's far too tight on the top threading. That can cause enough tightness that it can lead to the needle actually bending as it's trying to sew, and that will break the needle the next time it goes into the machine. And this is rare that this is the only problem. When your tension is this far off, the stitches aren't going to look right. Usually usually the thread is going to give up way before the needle does. But basically, I'm saying, like, if the balance on your machine is bad enough, and or if the tension on the top of your sewing machine is tight enough, that can sometimes lead to enough problems that it also then breaks your needle. So that's not great. So it's another good reason to keep an eye and try to make sure that your tension is set correctly, both to balance the top and the bottom tension on the machine and to not be super tight. This has happened to me before with my very first sewing machine. This actually used to happen a lot, and it turned out I had bought it used, and I didn't know anything about sewing machines, so I didn't even know that it wasn't quite working right. And what it turned out was the tension assembly basically needed to be rebuilt. So I did take it to a sewing machine. I did take it to a sewing machine repair person and got that fixed, and he essentially had to rebuild it. The spring that was part of the tension assembly was just completely sprung, and plus it was very dirty. It had been left in a barn for a while, so it just had to be redone. So thank you to that guy for fixing that all those years ago so that I could learn how to sew. Sometimes there's a screw loose in front of the machine. Hi, Editing Laura here. The cute little phrase I was trying to use in the video is a nut loose. And you're the nut. I don't know why my brain was like, yeah, a screw's the same as a nut. Why not? And then it kind of felt like it was wrong, but I couldn't. It just wasn't working out for me. So anyway, the cutesy little jokey phrase I was trying to use was a nut loose in front of the sewing machine, which unfortunately would be you. It would be the operator, the person using the machine. Oh my lord. I see this a lot with my beginning sewing students. There's this need to pull on the fabric, or let's say impulse, desire, I don't know. But basically, instead of letting the feed dogs, the machine, pull the fabric through, a lot of sewers get into the habit of going like this. And I'm not going to tell you that it's always bad. Just now, nothing bad happened. But There was really no need to be that heavy-handed with the machine. Couple of reasons. First of all, the machine doesn't need it. The machine is there to do the work for you. You don't need to do that. It's also really bad ergonomics. You end up bent way over the machine, sometimes stretching your body way forward, when in reality, probably a much healthier sewing position is more like this. I even tell my students, think of it this way. After the needle has been in the fabric, that stitch is done. So putting your hands behind where the stitch is in the fabric is counterproductive at least. Well, a waste of energy at least, and counterproductive at best. And the worst part is if you're really, really pulling hard, you can actually bend the needle at the moment between it touches the fabric and when it has to interact with the bobbin area, and that is going to break the needle. Am I saying there's never a good reason to hang on to the fabric that way? No. It's called taut sewing, T-A-U-T sewing, and you do use it for some applications. I end up using it quite a lot when I'm applying elastic to an edge, and some fabrics really do kind of demand that kind of sewing, but you do have to be very cautious and essentially sew as slowly as you're able and make sure that you are really matching the speed of your hands with the pace of the machine. But in general, everyday practice for your sewing, you really shouldn't be holding the fabric that way. So please, both for your sake and the sake of your machine, try not to develop this habit if you haven't, and if you have, try to practice your way out of it. Because your sewing will be faster, you will get less tired, and hopefully you will have, maybe you haven't had any problems with your machine because of this, but one day you're gonna, it's not helping. It's not helping anything. If you have developed this technique of, stretching the fabric out as you're sewing it or holding onto the back of it as you're sewing it because your machine isn't feeding the fabric through evenly, that can be solved a couple of other ways. If your machine has an adjustment where you're able to change how heavy the presser foot pressure is, you might want to adjust that. Or you can invest in getting a walking foot, which is also sometimes called a quilting foot. I actually have one on this machine right now, so I'll give you a close-up so you can see how it works. It's basically, you have your feed dogs going, this way to feed the fabric. Well, let's do it this way. This way to feed your fabric forward, and then the walking foot kind of has feed dogs of its own, and it clamps down and matches that at the same time. So, well, ideally. So basically, if you're having problems with your fabric not feeding well through the machine, a quilting foot or walking foot can solve that problem. Now I've taken the foot off to show you that one of the ways you can tell that a machine has had a sewer at it who, I'm trying not to say sewer because it looks like sewer when you write it, but anyway, a sewist, a operator, a person who sews, who has maybe been a bit heavy-handed with pulling on the fabric, is often, if it's been done enough or badly enough, the needle will actually strike around the hole in the needle plate, and that's usually when it's actually breaking, or sometimes it actually does break in the bobbin area, but often it's striking in here. And you can see this machine does have a little wear in this exact area, but it's nothing terrible. But I have actually seen where the metal around this little hole in the needle plate looks like it has little chunks bit out of it. And that's obviously that's not great. It shows that the machine has been used in a way that it wasn't designed to. But also, if that gets bad enough, then little tiny bits of little metal teethy things can snag on your fabric, and that is really annoying. And a needle plate isn't impossible to replace even on a vintage machine, but why make trouble when you didn't have it before? So again, just another reason not to develop the habit of tugging on your fabric. Now this is just a good system check for when you're changing the foot from one foot style to another. So I've just changed this into the straight stitch or the 1/4 inch foot, which, you know, isn't impossible to use, but I have forgotten to change the machine over from zigzag stitch to straight stitch, and I am going to, you know, make sure that I've done everything correctly. So I'm going to start by just turning the hand wheel and making sure that the foot is going to work with the machine the way it is right now. And instead I'm stopping because I don't know if you can see this, but I can actually feel the point of the needle touching the foot. Now, if I just started trying to sew, the machine can't feel that. It can't feel the resistance in that hand wheel. And so that's it. It just breaks the foot. I mean, it breaks the needle. I guess it could also potentially break the foot. But in my experience, it just breaks the needle. And you're like, oh no, you hear this horrible noise. And it's very upsetting for everybody, and hopefully your machine's not actually damaged, but you know, it's always a good idea to double check that the way that this foot works with the machine is actually going to work with the machine the way it is set now. Now, what this machine needs is, if I have it on a straight stitch foot, I just have to change the machine settings to only straight stitch instead of zigzag, and I would be good to go. If this is your first time coming by, thank you for stopping by. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Either way, hope to see you soon.